Singapore is a low-lying island and city-state. 80% of its population live in high-rise public housing, resulting in one of the highest population densities in the world.
Challenges from rapid urbanization, sea level rise and an increasingly chaotic climate is forcing planners and architects and policymakers to respond to critical questions about how cities of the future will cope with growing demand.
Despite the growing pressure on space, Singapore has been dubbed Asia's greenest city, so I've come here to meet some of the people who are helping it earn that title. My first stop is the Park Royal Hotel, which boasts 15,000 square meters of greenery and was completed in 2013 by award-winning architect Richard Hassel.
The Earth now in almost every way is being formed by human activity. So for us as architects, we feel like it's something within our control to suggest ways that building projects can also play a much stronger role in this stewardship of the Earth. When you look at like Google Earth or images from space, cities are really deserts. You know, you see a very bright, white, shiny area surrounded by dark vegetation. If people built buildings like this, you would no longer see that. You would see the vegetation layer covering the city as well.
The Singaporean government awarded Park Royal its coveted Platinum Green Mark, the nation's highest environmental certification, is part of a wider scheme to promote environmentally friendly buildings and investment into green city solutions.
For instance, when it's fully grown, we'll have 11 times the site area as green area.
So why go to all this extra effort to swaddle your buildings in plants?
A huge one in a hot climate like Singapore is that plants are the only thing that when the sunlight falls on it, they don't heat up. They actually take that energy and use it for their chemical processes of building carbohydrates and things. So the calculation for Singapore, for instance, is that before the city was built, Singapore was 5 degrees cooler, and all that heat ends up being converted into fossil fuel use as people use air conditioners to cool the space and throw even more heat out into the city. If substantial plant cover even reduced Singapore by 2 or 3 degrees Celsius, the energy saving for the entire country would be, you know, in the billions of dollars over years. A lot of the argument people have there, oh, so much of the city's built, you know, it doesn't matter, 1 or 2 buildings, what difference can they make? But if one building can compensate for 10 other sites not having any green, you can see that just by doing selective injection of these kind of buildings through the city, you can already create a statistically significant amount of green in the city.
Can you see potentially in the future where you could actually see some of this area providing a food supplement? Because we know that Singapore is so reliant on food imports.
Yeah. We've sort of done generation 1, which is providing a lot of planting and achieving these plot ratios. I think generation 2 is that, okay, now we have this, what can we do with it? And that's where I think there's anything you do on land on the ground, you can start thinking, does it make sense to do that up high on a building? So, you know, food, or we're also very interested in ecosystems. You know, can we make it not just decorative, but can we make it very biologically productive? We can, like in our lifetime, how many buildings can we build? This is something that needs lots of people doing it. And it needs rethinking at the urban planning level and at whole city visioning.